Dub Nation, before we jump into today's episode of Golden State Warriors today, can we break our record for the month in likes? We've only picked up 450 likes as our top liked video this month. Basketball's back. The Warriors are back in action with preseason action here. We got real games later this month. Let's get 500 plus likes. Hit that like button if you're fired up to watch Warriors basketball. I'm Harrison Graham from Chat Sports here with today's Golden State Warriors news and rumors. Draymond Green, is he ready to be back for opening night? He, of course, is dealing with an ankle injury. Now, Kendra Andrews reports that the Warriors are sure that he will be back by opening night. Now, here's CJ Holmes reporting no updates on Draymond Green behind what we already know. Lots of work on the stationary bike and in the weight room. Green will be reevaluated 1 week from Monday, which of course is today. Hamza added this as well, just kind of recapping the Kendra Andrews notes, saying he's going to miss the first 3 preseason games. Questionable for the last 2 preseason games. Assured/highly likely he's available for opening night. Draymond will not miss any time to start the season. So it looks like, barring any setback, that Draymond's good to go for opening night. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't need to see Draymond in the preseason. He's in his mid-30s. He's been here for over a decade. He knows how it goes. If he's healthy by the final preseason game, you want to get him 10 to 12 minutes just to get the feet wet, sure, that's fine with me. But if there's any risk of re-aggravation, I don't think there's any reason you need to play him. He knows how to play with Steph. He knows how to play with Klay. Sure, you got young guys, but you can figure that out as you go. Now, the question is Chris Paul in the starting lineup? What do things look like if Draymond does return to the Warriors by opening night, which it sounds like he will? So here's potential lineup number 1 for opening night. Steph and Klay in your backcourt, Wiggins and Green on the wing, and then Kevon Looney playing that center position, of course. And I think this should be the starting 5. This is what I would roll with. This is the starting 5 they've had for the past couple of years. There's no reason to mess with that continuity, and I just think Chris Paul as a backup point guard could be really lethal as well. I think for this point in his career, that makes sense. Like, that's the type of role he should have. Be a backup point guard for a contending team, and then on nights you're playing well, you're in the closing lineup. That's the way I look at it. But if the Warriors opt to go in this direction, want to play small ball, they could go Steph and Chris Paul, and Klay is more of a 3. Wiggins is a 4, but I don't love him as a 4. And then Draymond, who you do play some small ball 5. I think this could be a closing lineup on some nights, but I just like Looney in there as a starter. He's a good rebounder. You know what he brings to the table. And most teams are going to have a true center out there to start the game. If you want to flirt with this lineup during the game, different rotations, I'm in. But I don't think as a starting 5 it makes a ton of sense. Again, closing lineup, depending on who you're playing, yeah. Rotations during the game with these 5 out there together, yeah, that could happen. Starting 5, though, that's not a lineup I love. And then here's another option for you guys. Steph, Chris Paul, Klay, Wiggins, and Looney. So in this scenario, if Draymond's either hurt or if you decide you want to make him a super 6th man, you could go with that as well. But I think that's only if it's an injury situation. Number 1, do you really want to mess with Draymond's ego by bringing him off the bench? Seems like a bad idea. Number 2, I actually want his defense out there to start these games. I don't want 6-foot Chris Paul starting these games next to 6'2", 6'3" Steph Curry. I just don't think it's a good idea. So, again, I'm going with the starting 5 that we flirted with you guys first, the ones we've been used to the last couple of years. So, sure, if Draymond's hurt, you could bring Chris Paul in on the starting 5, but I still think you can make an argument. Put Kuminga in there, whoever. Bring Chris Paul off the bench. I think that is the lineup that makes sense. Now, predict the Warriors starting 5. If you agree with me and you want to go with that first lineup with no Chris Paul in the starting 5, type A. If you're going with the small ball lineup with no Kevon Looney, type B. If you're going with the third lineup where Draymond's either hurt or you want to bring him off the bench, type C. I think that's the least likely, barring a setback in the injury. I'm typing my A to go with the no Chris Paul lineup. Now, the Golden State Warriors did play their first preseason game as they knocked off the Lakers 125-108. I was really impressed with one player in particular. We'll take a look at this one and kind of look ahead to the rest of the preseason as well. But before we do that, if you want to have fun during these preseason games, well, Prize Picks has you covered. Daily fantasy sports, skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game. That is what Prize Picks is. If you're looking to spice up these preseason games but also have fun in the regular season, Prize Picks is the app for you. So how does it work, you ask? Well, you pick 2 to 6 players, and if they will go for more or less than their Prize Picks projection. You can win up to 25 times your money if you do pick 6 players. I got a simple pick 2 tonight for Monday Night Football. Less than 242.5 yards for Jimmy Garoppolo passing. I got more than 78.5 receiving yards, 80-plus actually now, for Devontae Adams. I think he's going to torch his former team in the Green Bay Packers, but not enough where Jimmy G is going to have a ton of yards. So I like the more than for Adams, less than on Jimmy Garoppolo. Pick 2 right there. $20 to win 60, 50 to win 150. Pick 2s are 3x the money. If you go up to 6 players, you can win up to 25x. Get started today. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. That is PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS. You're not playing against other players. You're not playing against pros and sharks. It's just you against the projections. Very simple game. Go start making some money today. And that code CLNS will get you a deposit match up to $100. All right, again, let's take a look at this preseason opener for Golden State as they dropped 125 points, held the Lakers to 108. Jonathan Kuminga, really nice showing. Moses Moody played well as well. And then Brandon Podziemski, how about the Rook getting 11 and 6 out there? Also, the young fellas balled out. I liked what I saw from the guys. Now, again, it's preseason. Teams aren't going 100 miles per hour, but you want to get more out of these young players this year, especially Jonathan Kuminga. This is a big year for him. We've talked about him a lot here on this channel, whether it's me, whether it's Chase Sr., Allie Barefoot, whoever it is. This feels like a pivotal year for him. If he's going to be here long term, he needs to have more outings like this. 24 points, 8 rebounds, dished 4 assists. I like that. And 50% from 3. Now, do I expect him to shoot 50% from 3 this year? No. Can he shoot in the high 30s, though? I'm hopeful. If he can do that, that would be very, very good. And I do think a breakout's imminent here. Like, there's no reason why he shouldn't break out this year. He's talented. He is poised for a bigger role coming off the bench. I think certain nights he could start if you want him to. He's athletic as hell. If that jump shot is improved like it appears to be, the sky's the limit. And that is another reason why I want to bring Chris Paul off the bench. I want him to play with a point guard of that caliber who can set him up, get him to the right spots where scoring the basketball should be easier. Biggest takeaway is, even though it's one preseason game, if these young guys can play a little bit, even if it's not all of them at once, if you get 1 or 2 of these young bucks contributing a night, you might have some nice depth, man. This bench might be in a really good place, and I do think this second unit of Chris Paul, Gary Payton, who's a defensive assassin, Moses Moody, who I'm still hopeful for. He had a nice game with 15 points. Jonathan Kuminga, Dario Saric. That's an intriguing group, especially Paul and Kuminga. I think those 2 guys, if they play up to their potential, this team has a chance to win a championship this year. So keep an eye on Kuminga throughout the preseason. Keep an eye on what Steve Kerr's thinking with these lineups. Again, I do think bringing Chris Paul off the bench is going to be the route that they go, but still a couple of weeks between now and opening night for the Golden State Warriors. Now, how excited are you for the Warriors' second unit? I think it'll be better than last year. Scale from 1 to 10, 1 being not at all, 10 being very. I'm very excited and amped for it. If Chris Paul can stay healthy, which that's a big if, I think this could be the best bench Golden State has had in quite a while. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's show. Enjoy the preseason. Get in on Prize Picks before Monday Night Football tonight. We'll have more coverage for you here on Dub Nation. So subscribe to Warriors Today, youtube.com/@WarriorsTV.